So last week we did that stepping inside ourselves and into this inner space by taking a breath, relaxing, letting go, and then imagining that it's happening when it's happening. So I've imagined myself breathing out and letting go. And it doesn't matter whether you're on a machine or not. The body is still breathing out. The body is still relaxing when that pressure is off. So this natural process is still being stimulated in the same way. And we relax. And if we do it often enough, or it might happen to you very quickly, you'll notice there's a pause. There's a moment of silence. So we'll just take a moment to notice it. Now, a couple of things tend to happen. One is, as soon as you breathe out and your attention on letting go and relaxing, as soon as that attention is gone, your mind has a bunch of thoughts in it. Maybe one very strong thought or a bunch of small thoughts. That's what usually happens. Or we'll forget that we're doing it and our mind is somewhere else. That means our mind is caught up in those thoughts. That's exactly what I mean. Or the other thing that can happen is that we become a bit quieter. We become a bit more silent. And we notice that actually our mind isn't as busy with the same thoughts and feelings that it usually is. That is a little bit less intense. And that's a fantastic thing to notice. And when you do notice it, really give yourself credit for noticing it, because noticing that and continuing to notice that's the real practice of meditation. That's where the practice of meditation is really having an impact. And of course, we have, we're 50, 60, 70, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever years old. So our minds and emotions have had all of those years to trace their patterns of reactions. So for somebody, they see a picture of the dog and they contract because that's their patterns of reactions. And somebody else sees a dog and opens and wants to move towards it, to pat it. That's all habitual reactions in the brain. And so we have those going on. There are our automatic thoughts and feelings are made up of those automatic reactions, which are basically going on more or less all the time. So when we breathe, we relax, we notice that there's a little bit more space, quietness, the intensity has calmed down a little bit. So those pathways, those old behaviors and reactions, they're not repeating themselves as strongly. We're less engaged with that. And when we're less engaged with that, we're much freer to make new decisions and do new things. If our mind is caught up with those reactions and thoughts and feelings, all that automatic stuff, then our mind isn't free. And to do healing meditation, our mind has to be a little bit free. So we'll try it out. We'll try out the healing meditation, and we'll see how far we've got. And please, 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 there's no right or wrong answer. Somebody can have a very successful practice at one time and be getting great results, and then at another time that might be what's going on for them, or you're engaged with difficulty. It's not about having a right answer. It's about expressing your own truth, whatever that is. Because if you're not having a good day, it can be much better to admit that and be honest about it than hiding it because you don't want to look like you're having a bad day. You know what I mean. So in this space, your own authenticity is what's most valuable, and it is what will give the greatest strength to your own healing process. If you're not authentic, then the healing process is clogged. Let's call it that, clogged. Yeah. All of our healing processes are a bit clogged. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. So we're all a bit clogged. But if you don't have a bit of silent space, then the mind is very taken up with it. And the simplest way of breaking that is the repetition of the exercise that I've done with you for the last 2 weeks, which starts off with breathing in and letting go and relaxing. And doing that 100 times a day or 200 times a day. It doesn't, I don't have any count. I've done it millions of times. Because it's the most basic one. And if we think that we don't need to do that or we shouldn't do it, that's the thought. That's the thought that we can just relax with. So if we think we don't need to do it or isn't useful or important or whatever, and we relax with that thought, really, what happens is that the thought loses its judgmental energy because it is a judgmental thought. And we're no longer actually looking at our lives, at ourselves from or through this judgmental thought. In fact, we've moved to this relaxed place where we can look at the judgmental thought and relax with it. So this is an incredible means of inner transformation. It is this simple starting off. And part of it remains this simple right until the very final moment, whatever that is. So I don't mind spending and investing the time and going into this, because I don't have something more valuable that I can teach, really, and then we're just exploring it more and more and seeing how our healing process can be supported by it and so on, and exploring it more. And the healing meditation is a really much deeper exploration of it. And hello, Eric, you're very welcome. I'm glad you're able to make it. And just in time, we're just about to do a healing meditation, so you'll be fine for this. Let me just keep an eye on the time. Yeah, okay. That's it. Let's start with the practice of breathing out and letting go. So as long as you feel yourself relaxing deeper, you can keep focusing on this exercise. You don't have to struggle with the exercise. In fact, you're noticing what your body's already doing. Breathing out, and as you breathe out, tension in your respiratory muscles is relaxed. Your body relaxes, so you're just letting go of that tension. You're agreeing to what is already happening in the body. Thoughts come in, just notice them, and come back to the breathing out, relaxing and letting go. When you come back to the breathing out, relaxing and letting go, start to notice that there's more space or slower momentum, that you're actually more relaxed. And you may have other feelings or pains or thoughts. They're okay, they're not being rejected. When our attention becomes captivated by them, we notice that it's captivated and we return to our breathing and letting go. So as we slow down on the intensity of our mind and lives, we're resting, we're doing something good for our health, and we're going to do something else which is good for our health, which is new for some of you. We're going to go on a little adventure within ourselves. So as you notice things have quietened down in your mind a little bit, on the outside, so you can just imagine yourself imagine you are you, or you are in your body. It doesn't have to be a defined image. Just the idea of you is enough. You are the one who experiences the listening to my voice and any sounds in the background. You are the one who experiences the color of your eyelids as they're closed. So it's this you that I want you to imagine, not your body, not your energy. You're the one who feels tired, who feels energetic. You're the one who thinks happy thoughts or sad thoughts. You're the one that feels critical or feels respected or whatever. But the one that I want you to imagine is the experiencer, not the experience. This is the you. Stepping inside the you which experiences everything. There is nothing in your life which you have not experienced. You can't remember it, that's different. So you have all of lifetimes of experience. And this is a part of what makes up how your mind and your emotions work. So I want to show you a little bit more about how it works. I want to show you it's part of yourself, and it takes time to develop as well, but it's real, and you can test it out. And it's the part of you which is called unlimited imagination. So you are inside yourself, and to some degree, your consciousness, you, are free from your thoughts, feelings, emotions, body, to some degree. You're inside yourself. And I want you to imagine a doorway of some kind, any kind you like, it doesn't matter. This is the doorway to your unlimited imagination. And I'm asking you to go to the doorway and find out what happens. Maybe it just swings open. Maybe it's locked. Maybe it's difficult to open. Maybe it's already open. Because we're already in the world of images. We're working with our imagination and our mind. If the door won't open for you, you can try asking a question to it and seeing if you can get a response. Or you could ask if there's somebody behind the door who has a message for you. And if the door opens, it's impossible to see unlimited everything. And this is the room of unlimited imagination. So the rules of this room, which we create and make ourselves, so you can change them. But the rule of this room is that you can't imagine anything wrong. It doesn't matter how crazy what you imagine is. In fact, the crazier, the better. because this will room and this ability will help us to heal. So I want you to give yourselves the possibility of experiencing your own unlimited imagination. I want you to give yourselves the possibility of experiencing your own unlimited imagination. Usually that means that some image comes to mind which you're engaged with, you're involved in, may not. And you just stay with that image and see how it expresses itself or explores. There aren't any particular rules. You might move on to a different image. If nothing's happening, you can do that. There's no rules here. Oh, there's one rule, which is there are no limits to your imagination here. So you can imagine anything. And this is part of your mind. So by making yourself open to receive the image and listen to that, to experience that, and you're receiving a message from your own unconsciousness to help you free and heal yourself. If you get lost, you can go back to the breathing. And you can check in with your unlimited imagination. So I'm going to ask you to imagine something specific. I'm going to ask you to imagine yourself running around the world so fast that you can run on the water and you're back in your bed or your chair before anybody even notices you've left. We're going to wrap up this visit in a minute or two. This visit to unlimited imagination. And when you're ready, then come back. I'm very interested, I know other people are too, to hear if you experienced anything in your unlimited imagination or otherwise, in the whole thing. I mean, I can talk about my experience, but it'd be really good to hear from you. So anything which stood out to you, or it can be confusing, or it can be really clear, or, there's no right answer. There's just your experience and accepting that and integrating that into this learning and healing process. That's all there is. So I'll give you a minute to type or to formulate your thoughts.
Well, I went somewhere that didn't want to come back.
Can you describe it?
One of my favorite camping spots with my daughter, and I was running free, breathing without this ventilator, kind of loving every minute of it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, fantastic. That's fantastic. That's brilliant. Very happy. I am from Amy. I had a nice time on Porch Swing on a nice summer's day. Lovely, lovely. And did everybody get through the door okay? Because I noticed that at one stage and I thought, oh yeah, hang on. As soon as I say something, it's already kind of happening. And so as soon as I say, imagine the door, you're already, to some degree, you're already doing it really. Or, your relationship with this is already being expressed in your mind. So some people have struggles with the door, but we can really learn from that. That's why I bring it up. I mean, recently it happened to me. I was going, well, anyway, but it was really interesting, and so it gave me I just took it as a chance to notice something else, which is what the whole thing was about. Today, anyway, what was it? Yeah, when I went there, when I passed through the door, then it was really bizarre. I was teaching. I guess it was this class, but we were all in a physical classroom together, and I was teaching one of you. This was an image that came up before. I don't know if you know them from the 60s or 70s. They're these bouncing things which had the horns on them. They're kind of orangey brown colored. I must find out what the name of this is. You've got to know it, like, you know. Anyway, you used to bounce around on these things. Anyway, yeah, I was in the process of one of you was about to get on this thing and bounce around on it. So that was that was really interesting. And yeah, I just accepted the experience. I didn't try to control it. I was kind of curious about it, or you know, sometimes you want to find out more information or something like that. And I wasn't. Mostly I was just able to relax and accept the image and the experience. And you know, for me, it just sort of suggested that there are subtle levels of communication beyond the physical words we speak and hear. It just kind of sort of suggested that to me. And I just stayed with that. And then I sort of dropped out a little bit and made some comments and went back in again. And then I was just in a really deep healing place. I could have spent an hour or two there, so I'll be back there later on. And that's my healing place, which is, I think, there's more of a sensation than a description. I think that's how I describe it. And it's the sort of, you know, when you're getting a physiological sensation, then, you know, you're getting something which is quite powerful. It's actually changing your body. Yeah? And we can do that through our mind, through our imagination. So when we do the things like running around the world, I was really specific with that, just to try and challenge you with seeing, imagining something that's impossible. And that's what, a part of what we're doing is breaking what our mind feels is impossible because of the routine that it's stuck in. So by breaking that routine, by experiencing things which are technically, physically impossible, but when we experience that in our mind, then we go to places where we don't want to come back from. And those places are so good for us. It's not so much a case of getting lost there. Actually, there is a case of somebody who used to spend kind of 10 hours a day in his imagination. An American guy, fairly young. He got ALS in his very early 20s. He was bedridden by 21 or 22, I think. And he totally went into this incredibly deep healing state for months and months, and he got all his abilities back. He's living a normal life. Really incredible story. So we can make this impact on ourselves. It's within our ability. This is what we're here to learn and to practice. And I'd say I must be on the timeline. Am I? Oh, I am. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions or anything else that they want to mention regarding today or otherwise? Well, that's it for this week then. As you see, we're stepping forward, and next week we'll take another step, and we might spend longer in the realm of unlimited imagination, a bit longer. So goodbye, Priscilla, Sanjay, John X, Amy, Joanne, Eric, and Sharon's gone. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.